Hey, welcome to Estevan TV. I'm at pushgapradio.com.
Pushgapradio.com. Bridging the gap between old school and new school radio. Pushgapradio.com. It's Dallas, baby.
Pushgapradio.com. Hamilton Park, Dallas, Fort Worth.
PushGapRadio.com in Dallas and Fort Worth. Welcome to another edition of Shaka 41 in the main event with Jackie O. What's the business?
Hey, everybody. Happy Super Bowl weekend. Well, by the time you all hear this, it will be over with and we'll have a
show to hell.
Kansas
boy.
will be been won by.
So you're going for Kansas City?
Yes.
At the time of this recording?
Yeah. Yes, I am. The original Dallas Cowboys.
So what are you, a Swiftie?
No. I like them because they originally began in Dallas. They were originally
right.
The
Lamar
Dallas,
Hunt.
Yes. And so that's why I am for the original Dallas Cowboys.
That's what.
I mean, although they weren't, I don't think they were the Cowboys, but.
The Dallas Texans is what they were called back then.
Yeah.
When he first started it, before he moved them. That's why Houston is now the Texans. So, hope you had a great weekend. Hope your team won the Super Bowl. My team. Go
and
Bears.
Enjoyed Usher's much awaited Super Bowl halftime show.
I don't really care about Usher, man. I guess
You don't, but a lot of other people do.
This is true. I guess we'll check everything out on YouTube when I get back home from work. So
you
far
will be. I'll be watching it.
Oh, yeah.
It's happening.
You know, the commercials are supposed to be hot.
Yes, and I've already, and they've already shown some of the commercials. So, yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm looking more forward to the commercials and the halftime show than the game. I never watched the game.
Yeah. I think they set it up. I think it was rigged. They want the Taylor Swift effect, I believe.
Oh, it definitely has.
Because she brings
Taylor
a
Swift
lot
effect.
of fans.
Oh,
you know.
definitely.
Yeah.
They have some commercials that are specifically geared towards the Swifties.
Yeah.
Yeah, she brings a huge.
Hope she's cutting a check.
Well, no, she's not getting a check.
Well, look at what she's bringing to your deal.
She doesn't care about that part. She's just supporting her man,
Travis Kelce.
Yes.
Because trust me, true fans don't give a damn about Taylor Swift. Now, real quick before we get started, though, they were saying, I watched this young lady on YouTube, on TikTok, and she was saying, and, you know, we've done shows about the demise of black music and whatnot. And what she was saying is that how does Taylor Swift beat out people like Beyonce and whatnot? Because her thing was, and I probably didn't save the video, but her thing was like Simone Biles and Beyonce and whatnot. When Simone does what she does, they docked her points because the white girls can't do what Simone can do. Now, if Simone was in with just black girls, they say they wouldn't dock her points. But because they cannot do what Simone does, they puts them at a disadvantage. Her other thing was Taylor Swift as compared to like Beyonce and other people. She said, what do you think? Taylor Swift is the Michael Jackson of this generation? She said Taylor Swift is just as mediocre as the rest of the white people, is what she's saying. That's why they got rid of our music. They can't compete. You know, anything we do as black people, not only do we do it better, we do it with more flair, more swag.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are just saying that they think Taylor Swift is just mediocre, just mass mediocrity.
Well, hate me for this one. Taylor Swift, Simone Biles, and Beyonce. What do all three of these women have to do in common with each other? Simone Biles, every time she invents a new move, what do? They dock her points. Why? Because Simone Biles is not competing by herself. Simone Biles isn't even just simply competing against other black women, because if she was, they wouldn't dock her points, but also those white judges wouldn't be there. It's the fact that Simone has to compete against white women, and that's a move that's too hard for them to do. That's why Taylor Swift keeps winning Album of the Year, because if they gave Album of the Year to somebody like Beyonce, if they gave Album of the Year to somebody like SZA, if they had given it to Lana Del Rey, that would set a precedent for talent that is not easily replicable by Taylor Swift and the other artists that they sign into the industry that are nothing but mini Taylor Swifts. They don't want talent. I told y'all this 3 years ago. Let's get into it. When you go through Taylor's discography, there's absolutely no reason she should have more Album of the Year awards than Celine Dion. Because let's compare her only to white artists. She can't out-sing Celine Dion. She can't out-sing Lana Del Rey. Half of Taylor's music sounds like it's being sung by Selena Gomez. The other half sounds like if J-Lo attempted to cover up the songs, she would succeed. If J-Lo can cover your song successfully, it's the song and you that sucks, babe. So when we get into it, Lana's giving opium, Taylor's giving nicotine out of a flash drive, and most of the fuel is gone. To say that Taylor outperforms Beyonce, to believe that Taylor is the Michael Jackson of this generation, makes me think about when the white men said, we can't just give these kids participation trophies. This is what happens when you allow white women to believe that they are doing something that everybody else has already been doing. They believe that they're better at it.
Well, that's a few people. The mass majority thinks Taylor is the shit.
Are they black?
And it doesn't matter what color they are. Trust me, she have a lot of black people that are also Swifties. One huge one is Flavor Flav.
Really? Flav is a fan of Taylor Swift.
He's a huge Swiftie.
Really now?
She has such a huge following that they have already said she's going to have a huge impact on the elections. That's how strong her power is.
Really
with
now?
these people. Yes.
Wow.
If Taylor says to vote for XYZ, these people are going to vote for XYZ simply because Taylor told them to do so.
I can believe.
So, regardless of whether people like Taylor or not, the girl has power.
Yeah. Well, old girl said she's mediocre. Have your kids ever told you that they did not ask to be here? Did you ever tell your parents that? I didn't, because you'd have got the hell slapped out of you had you ever told Gene that. But a lot of youngsters always say that they didn't ask to be here. One person said their kid said it to her husband. And then, like her mom said, why were you in such a hurry to get to your, the dad said, why were you in such a hurry to get to your mom's egg? You should have let another sperm win. And another lady said, I told my kid, well, you won the race to get to the egg. And the son replied, not like I knew what the prize was. I'd have swam back. Okay. But to understand,
my children knew better. If they ever said anything, if they ever said anything like that, they never said it out loud where I could hear it. They either said it in their inside voice or they said it to each other way out of my hearing range.
Now, to explain to you, to show you what it is we're talking about, check out this video.
I put a roof over your head, clothes on your back, food on your table. Ain't that what you supposed to do? I'm your child. You had me. I ain't asked to be here.
The next time your kid tells you that they were not asked to be born because they didn't get their way, or they think that you need to tolerate their BS attitude because you brought them to this world, show them this clip.
Sperm are foreign to a woman's body and are treated as unwanted invaders. Her immune system is triggered to kill them. Once they enter the cervix, they are in a labyrinth of dead ends, perfect for an ambush. By the time any survivors reach the safety of a fallopian tube, of the original 250 million, there could be as few as 20 left.
I mean, that looked more brutal than a Spartan race, if you ask me. And to still make it to the top 20 and outbeat your potential 19 other siblings to the egg, you can't tell me you didn't want to be here. Come on now.
Now, the average ejaculate produced during male ejaculation typically contains between 40 million to 1.2 million sperm cells. However, this number can vary widely depending on factors such as the individual's health, age, and fertility. So basically, you beat out all the other sperm to fertilize the egg. So when you say you didn't ask to be here, you fought like hell to get here. Okay? So quit telling your people that. Just wanted to bring that up.
That's a lot of somebody else's DNA entering our bodies when you really think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, I just seen so many videos over the last week or so. I just thought it was very interesting.
Trust me, it is.
I didn't ask to be here. Well, yeah, you did. You beat out 1.2 billion sperm cells.
Trust me, that kind of statement is definitely from this newer generation. It is definitely not from the kids during my parenthood generation.
I know from our parents, our grandparents, you would have never told them that. Happy Black History Month. How Martin Luther King Jr. fell short in advancing the black community. I've seen videos of youngsters who have said that Dr. Martin Luther King screwed us over and a lot of stuff that he did. He was just trying to get access to white women.
These people are so disrespectful.
Well, you got to, Dr. King admitted that he was wrong. When he made the statement, let me say it correctly. I fear I am integrating my people into a burning house. Now, Martin Luther King Jr. is celebrated worldwide as a champion of civil rights and nonviolent resistance. His leadership during the American civil rights movements of the 1950s and 60s was instrumental in achieving significant legislative victories and societal changes aimed at ending racial segregation and discrimination. Again, a lot of black people, especially younger black people, believe that Dr. King screwed us. Although Dr. King did admit that he made a mistake, uttering the famous but hidden quote of, "I fear I am integrating my people into a burning house." Now, actor and activist Harry Belafonte shared a similar moment about his friend. And he said midway through the civil rights movement, Dr. King realized the struggle for integration would ultimately become a struggle also for economic rights. Belafonte said, "I remember the last time we were together in my house, shortly before he was murdered. He seemed quite agitated and preoccupied." And Belafonte said he asked him what the problem was. According to Mr. Belafonte, Dr. King responded, "I've come upon something that disturbs me deeply. We have fought hard and long for integration, as I believe we should have, and I know we'll win, but I've come to believe that we're integrated into a burning house. So I'm afraid that America has lost the moral vision she may have had, and I'm afraid that even as we integrate, we are walking into a place that does not understand that this nation needs to be deeply concerned with the plight of the poor and disenfranchised." So there's this guy who was saying that he didn't celebrate Dr. King because Mr. Belafonte said, he asked Dr. King, he said, "Well, what should we do?" And Dr. King said, "We should become the firemen. Let us not stand by and let the house burn." So 5 decades later, in the burning house, America is still engulfed in flames, and millions of its unwitting victims are in dire need of first aid treatment. So this guy was just saying that, breaking down the reasons that he didn't celebrate MLK Day or Dr. Martin Luther King, older guy. And before we delve further, check him out.
I don't celebrate MLK because America does. America has too much of a racist history for us to celebrate the same black man. Why would America celebrate MLK? Well, Martin Luther King is responsible for the destruction of black commerce, black business. How? Integration. Before integration, blacks had their own banks, hospitals, lawyers' offices, doctors' offices. They had everything because they couldn't go to the white businesses for anything. You see, integration had nothing to do with equality. It had everything to do with destroying black commerce. So as you celebrate Martin Luther King Day, remember why America celebrates King and why America would celebrate King in every way, but to fulfill his dream of equality.
So, yeah, that's what this guy feels about Dr. King, And what do you think?
I think that it doesn't fall on any one person for where we are now or where we were back then. At least he had the galls to stand up and to fight for his people, regardless of what was happening as far as the consequences.
Right.
Was he perfect? No, he was not. But who is? Mm-hmm. I commend the efforts that he put forward for our people, because even though we're not where we should be or where we need to be, I don't think we would be as advanced as we are had it not been for Dr. King.
Yeah, because they weren't leaning toward Malcolm X. They was afraid of Malcolm X.
Yeah, so even though, again, it may not have been the perfect, the perfect scenario all the way around, as far as a whole picture. But I think as a whole, he did us well. I celebrate him, and I'll continue to celebrate him. Yeah. But everybody have their own opinions. Yeah. And their reasons for their opinions. And then speaking of Dr. King, we can't go past the fact that they buried his youngest son this past Saturday, Dexter King. Yeah, he passed away from prostate cancer. So we do send out our condolences to his family and his friends. Yeah. And it was good to see the siblings come together. As much as they ass be fighting. Yeah, because they were fighting because the brothers wanted to sell Dr. King's Bible and his I Have a Dream speech, and Bernice did not want to sell it, and she didn't turn it over to them, so they had a big court battle over that. Like they still trying to sell what's his name that we talked about? Mandela. And then Nelson Mandela stuff too. Yeah. On the show before. But the only difference is not family fighting amongst each other. With that one is the actual is Africa fighting against the children, the family. Well, people are saying that we had our own economic system. They kept burning it all down. Yeah, that's true. But we had our own stuff like baseball, the Negro Leagues. We had our own economy, and we had a lot of our own stuff. And that by him wanting to integrate with people who hate you is what a lot of people didn't understand. Malcolm X made the same reference. These people hate us. Why would you want to integrate with them? But again, down the road, Dr. King realized he had made a critical mistake. Limited economic progress is one of the things we're talking about. See, it's one of the key areas where Dr. King failed to adequately address the needs of the black community. And, that was achieving economic equality. One thing. Critique of nonviolent resistance. His commitment to nonviolent resistance was a cornerstone of his philosophy, and some critics argue that this approach ultimately failed to bring about substantive change for the black community. And that's what Malcolm X's fight was for. He said, if somebody hits you, you bust their ass back. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, some people think the nonviolent approach didn't work because they say that freedom and liberty and whatnot are taken by force. And these people here, they just, this mainstream society, they're very violent people. And that's what Malcolm X was saying. You're not going to get nothing by being nice and turning the other cheek to these people. Now, there was a guy who had been there when LBJ signed that Civil Rights Act. Mm-hmm. And on his deathbed, I'll see if I can find the video. Saw this a couple of years ago. On his deathbed, he said that they were willing to give Dr. King whatever he wanted to shut him up. They thought they would have to give money, land, this, that, and the third. He said they were prepared to give whatever. They said when Martin Luther King walked in there and started talking about equality, he said they started looking at each other like, what? I said, that ain't going to cost us nothing. We thought we were going to have to give up a lot, and they were willing to give it because King was making them look bad on a global scale. They're willing to give it then and give it now. It's not too late. Yeah, different times back then, I guess. Mm-hmm. So Dr. King was often disappointed by the slow pace of progress and lack of meaningful action on issues affecting black people. Well, when you think about it, when they did try to separate and do their own thing, I mean, look at the Black Wall Street and back in the 20s and 30s. So even when they were prosperous in doing their own thing, it would get burned down. It would get looted. So it was a catch-22. You were damned if you do and damned if you don't. But do you think it's a time for us to revisit that? Or do you think we're so far separated as a damn people that we'll never be able to come together and recreate anything on the scale of Black Wall Street? Well, first of all, black people are their own worst enemies. Whenever you see stuff out in the media, it's usually black on black, whether it be crime or whatever the case may be. So that would be kind of hard to do. Yeah. Because regardless of how we got here, we're here. And you do have some people I've seen, they are breaking off and they're buying land and they're talking
the
about
people down in
building
Georgia.
communities and different things like that. So it's not that you can't do that, but at the same time, you can't be hypocritical either. We can't say that we want to be able to move into an all-white neighborhood, but then on the other hand, we want to create an all-black neighborhood. Either we want to be able to live amongst each other, or we don't.
I don't think that's going to work. I would rather be separate but equal, like Malcolm X was talking about. And the thing you're saying about how black people are, because it's always in the media, we don't have any media. We don't have a news channel or anything of that nature. Again, think about it. When they sold BET, the first thing they got rid of was the news. Ed Gordon and Jack A. Reed. That's the first thing they got rid of. News is to keep the people of the community informed about what's going on. And the first thing they got rid of, because we have no media, someone else tells our narrative. That's why we're always portrayed that way.